Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for the latest news and information from the city of Greensboro. The Guilford County Animal Shelter announced an individual working at the shelter tested positive for COVID-19 the week of May 4th. The individual is in quarantine per Guilford County Department of Health guidelines. As a precautionary measure, the facility has undergone a deep cleaning and COVID-19 testing has been administered to all animal services staff. Several operational changes have immediately gone into effect. The shelter has suspended adoptions until further notice. Surrendering of stray animals will continue with no appointment needed. Curbside claiming of animals continues with no appointment needed. Animal control officers will respond to emergency and high priority calls only. Surgical procedures, community outreach, special events, the volunteer program, and owned pet surrender appointments are suspended. Since mid-March, Guilford County Animal Services has implemented protective measures for staff, volunteers, and the public, and has been operating on split schedules to reduce the risk of contracting the virus. Anyone exhibiting coronavirus symptoms should call the Guilford County Coronavirus Hotline at 336-641-7527 to be pre-screened by a public health professional and possibly scheduled for a COVID-19 test. In its latest round of funding, the Greensboro Virus Relief Task Force granted nearly $220,000 to 8 local nonprofits. Over the past 6 weeks, the task force has granted more than $1.9 million to nearly 90 local nonprofits, providing services to thousands of residents impacted by the coronavirus. The Greensboro Virus Relief Fund was established by United Way of Greater Greensboro at the request of the city, with support from the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. In an effort to quickly respond to community needs, volunteer task force members are reviewing dozens of applications from local nonprofits each week. The task force is working to raise an additional $2 million. Every dollar makes a difference, and residents are encouraged to continue supporting the cause. Making a donation is as simple as visiting unitedwaygso.org or texting the word virus to 40403. All donations are immediately being used to support local nonprofits responding to the coronavirus outbreak. Nonprofits can continue to submit funding requests. The task force is co-chaired by a representative from the City of Greensboro and United Way. Other members represent the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro, the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce, Guilford County, and leaders for the 6 priority areas being funded. For more information, visit United Way's website. In response to the COVID-19 public health crisis, the Guilford County Family Justice Center, or FJC, has launched several new specialized COVID-19 safety resources for survivors of violence and abuse. The agency launched a chat feature available by smartphone or computer. Within minutes, victims, survivors, and community members can connect with an FJC navigator directly from the FJC website. The new chat feature is available Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The FJC has 2 locations with centers in Greensboro and High Point and continues to be available to meet the emergency needs of families. The FJC coordinates the emergency and safety needs of victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, elder, and child abuse. Walk-in hours are Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., with the afternoon hours reserved for emergency appointments. FJC services include, but are not limited to, safety planning, filing emergency protective orders, and legal consultation. For assistance after hours, call 911 or call the 24/7 crisis hotline with Family Service of the Piedmont at 336-273-7273. In an effort to help each of us improve our quality of life, the city has partnered with Cone Health for a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Let's check in with our friends at Cone Health for today's News for Your Health.
Hello, are you having trouble sleeping? I'm Dr. Clint Young, Medical Director of the Cone Health Sleep Disorder Center. Today we're going to talk about some important ways to help you get a better night's rest. Most people sleep best if they get 6 or 8 hours of regular sleep every night. The best bedrooms are quiet, cool, dark, comfortable, and safe. That means if you have a mattress that hurts your back, maybe it's time to change it. Cool means a couple of degrees at least cooler than your daytime temperature, not cold. But it can help a lot to have a layered set of blankets rather than one heavy comforter that is all or nothing. If you're feeling a little too warm, try sticking a foot out from under the cover. Just something to shed a little body heat can make a big difference. Keep the bedroom a safe, neutral place. Don't have your arguments there. Don't worry about finances and family relationships in the bedroom. And get rid of the electronics. TVs, laptops, tablets, cell phones have bright screens that make the brain think that it's daytime. The pings of alerts all night long will not help you sleep, and you do better if you get rid of those. The habit of going to bed at a regular time is a learned habit to some extent. If you're too casual about when you get up and when you go to bed, your brain starts having more trouble figuring out what's bedtime. So get regular about it. It doesn't have to be rigid, but if you have a consistent bedtime, you'll do better. As you get ready for bedtime, we try to help people calm down, quiet down. It can help to do something easy and distracting. Reading quietly, doing puzzles can be better than doing something that's really engaging, like work from the office or playing an active video game that is stimulating. Try to get your exercise in earlier in the day. It's hard to get your body temperature back down again if you exercise too close to bed. We like people to eat and drink an hour or more before bedtime. It makes you more comfortable. It cuts down having to get up at night to go to the bathroom. It can reduce reflux problems at night. Just think in terms of settling down, quieting down, finishing up the day so that you can go on to bed. Everybody has trouble sleeping sometimes. Trouble going to sleep in the first place, trouble waking up before you're ready to. We call those the insomnias. And again, that's normal unless it happens over and over again or begins to disturb the quality of your life. It helps to calm down, to quiet down, relax, just drift, think about things that you want to think about, and don't try to solve life's problems while you're lying in bed. If sleep just won't come, then you may be better off getting up, going and doing something quiet and comfortable for a little while until you're ready to try again. That's better than lying there fretting about it. There's a place for sleep medicines. There's a big market for them and lots of people trying to sell them. Just remember that sleep medicines are tools. They're not the solution. If you're really having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, then we can help you understand more deeply what's going on and maybe fix the underlying problem. Everybody has problems sleeping sometimes. It doesn't need to be a consuming issue for you, and it doesn't need to be something that you frighten about every night as you get ready to go to bed. Hope you sleep well.
The city is committed to keeping residents safe and out of harm's way from the coronavirus. A multitude of city invoices can be paid online. We'll have that story and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. In the face of this global pandemic, more city services can be paid online in addition to water bills and parking tickets. Residents can visit the city's website and click on the tab entitled Pay Your Miscellaneous Invoice. Options for online payments include false alarms, code enforcement violations, monthly parking deck fees, fire violation inspections, landfill charges, and daycare facility fees, just to name a few. An invoice qualifies if the invoice is sent by the City of Greensboro and reads Miscellaneous Invoice, City of Greensboro, at the top center of the page. These invoices can still be paid in person at the Melvin Municipal Office Building located at 300 West Washington Street or by mail at P.O. Box 3136, Greensboro, North Carolina 27402. Thanks to assistance from the city's online bond tracker, residents can find information about the bonds voters approved in November 2016, totaling $126 million. The bond tracker allows residents to find details on the bond-funded projects under Community Economic Development, Housing, Parks and Recreation, and transportation. John Decker, the city's budget director, explains how the bond tracker is one more example of how the city of Greensboro is using technology to be a more purpose-driven, data-informed, and people-centered organization. The tracker shows how much money has been spent on each project and other details such as the estimated start and completion dates. To follow the progress of the projects being funded by the 2016 bonds, access the bond tracker on the city's website. The Greensboro Police Department has resumed fingerprinting services by appointment only. Fingerprinting will be offered Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Appointments will be scheduled in 20-minute increments. To schedule an appointment, visit the GPD website. The lobby of police headquarters remains closed, so those in need of having their fingerprints taken will need to abide by the following guidelines when arriving to the Greensboro Police Department. There will only be one person allowed into the building at a time. Spouses, children, or other people accompanying you will not be allowed to enter the building with you. All persons will be required to wear a mask or face covering upon entering the building. If you arrive after your scheduled time, you will not be allowed in, and you will have to reschedule your appointment. Please have all the paperwork and identification you need upon entering the building. You will not be allowed to exit the building to retrieve the information once your appointment time has begun. If you are sick or you are displaying symptoms of being sick, you will be asked to come back at a later date. Greensboro Police Department employees will wear a mask and gloves during each appointment. Appointment times will not be moved or adjusted. The governor has introduced a multi-phase approach to reopening the state. Coming up after the break, we'll check in with Guilford County Emergency Management to explain what this means for our community. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. Whether it's a severe thunderstorm, natural disaster, or in this case, a global pandemic, we turn to the Guilford County Emergency Management Team for guidance and leadership. Joining me now to talk about the county's response to COVID-19 and the 2020 hurricane season is Don Campbell. He is the Director of Guilford County Emergency Management. Hello, Don. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. So from your perspective, how would you characterize Guilford County's response to COVID-19?
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job so far. I think it's been an interesting experience for us to be able to take the plans that we're very used to using, like for hurricanes and tornadoes and winter storms, and sort of make that adjustment to how does it work for a pandemic. Some of the things have worked out really well. We've had to make some changes on the fly as we all get new information and see what that looks like. But fortunately, our partner agencies that we work with the city, the county, our nonprofits, have all really adjusted well, and I think they've done a really good job of sort of moving to the new normal.
Yes.
And trying to figure out how do we make it through with this next new piece of information that we're trying to work with.
Well, as I said, we look to your department for that guidance and leadership, and you have those plans readily available, and it's amazing how you've been able to keep up, considering practically within the day things can change hourly or even sometimes by the minute.
Yeah, it's been really interesting how fast that information has come, and we sort of look at back when we had the tornado in 2018. We learned some things during that response of making sure that we were doing regular teleconferences with partner agencies to make sure that we were all seeing the same thing and we were all saying the same thing. We've been able to use some of those lessons that we learned from the tornado and really implement it here almost 10, 12 weeks into the process so far. So that's been helpful so far.
Excellent. Now, what would you say are major challenges or differences with the governor phasing in this approach to reopening the state?
You know, I think we're all very excited about being able to start getting back a little bit more to normal and trying to figure out how to do that in a safe and efficient manner. I think everybody would love to go back to normal right away, but the challenge is making sure that we can do it safely is a real challenge for us. So looking at this phase one starting to allow all businesses to reopen, I know that really starts to bring some normalcy back to people's routines. People can get back to work, but there are some places that still are aren't open yet. And so trying to make adjustments on what is open, what's not open. I know everybody would love to get a haircut. There are a lot of things that are continuing to go on that we're hopeful will start to open up in the next couple weeks, but really trying to figure out that phased-in approach has been a little bit of a challenge for everybody, I think.
Yes, and the phasing is done by dates. So what should people know, or what do they need to remember as we go through phases? We're in phase 1, and then we'll eventually get to phase 3.
So, I think each of those phases are going to include different openings and do new processes and procedures. And so the idea is now we've opened up almost all businesses except for those personal care services. And while our grocery stores are doing a great job and our other retail industries are doing a great job, people are starting to go to them more, which is excellent. The challenge is we want to remind people that doesn't mean it's a free-for-all again. We need to make sure that we're listening to those 3 W's, wearing a mask, waiting 6 feet in between each other, and really washing our hands as much as we can. Otherwise, we may find ourselves back a phase, and I think we're all trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to maintain our focus on the coronavirus, of course, but then we have hurricane season right upon us coming up June 1st. What are you planning from the county's perspective in terms of preparation, and has anything changed?
I think we look at every hurricane season and go, well, what can we expect this year? We know that 2018 was a big year with 2 major hurricanes that impacted our area. Last year, we dodged a number of bullets that we were pretty lucky for. We're hoping we're that lucky again, but hope's not necessarily a great course of action. So we're trying to make sure that our partner agencies are able to adjust their plans. A couple things that come to mind, sheltering is more than likely going to have to be done differently. Putting a lot of people in a tight location is not a good thing to do in the middle of a pandemic. So we're working with groups like the Red Cross and social services and the health department to figure out some alternate ways to do some of those things that we have traditionally done in parks and recreation facilities and stuff like that. So really trying to be agile as much as we can, be flexible as new guidance comes out, and really keep our eye on the prize of maintaining that social distancing.
And of course, we need our residents to do their part. So what is it that you want to share with our residents in terms of being prepared now and not later?
I think that the biggest thing that we can say is we have all spent a lot of time in this stay-at-home process, and so we've seen people go into the grocery store and making sure they're stocked up for a couple of days. We would really like to, even though we're opening more stuff up, make sure that people maintain that level of readiness. Keep a couple of days worth of food and toilet paper and things like that in the house so that you don't have to go out, so that we're not rushing the stores pre-hurricane. Those little things that we can do now that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks will really help people get through any hurricane that we would have, whether it would be a power outage or those types of impacts.
Okay, well, that's always great information. Don, you're working around the clock to keep us safe, and we appreciate that. All of the information that you send out to keep us alerted and informed of any threats to impact our community. Thank you for all that you're doing, you and your team, and I hope you'll come back and keep us posted with other tips as we get through more coronavirus and, of course, hurricane season.
Absolutely glad to do it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact our city is by tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. Due to COVID-19, the City Council is meeting virtually. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. City Council meetings take place on Level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building located at 300 West Washington Street. To review the council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. The Greensboro Child Response Initiative, or CRI, is a partnership among the Kellen Foundation, the Greensboro Police Department, and dozens of community stakeholders. CRI is a coordinated community response that brings together law enforcement, medical and academic institutions, mental health providers, juvenile justice professionals, child protective services, community service agencies, and other advocates to ensure a coordinated community effort to heal the wounds children suffer from exposure to violence and trauma. Since its inception in 2008, the Greensboro Child Response Initiative has served more than 13,000 children and their families, most of whom were witnesses or victims of either domestic violence or assault. Many of these referrals come from Greensboro police officers who respond to incidents of violence involving children. Dr. Kelly Graves, project director for CRI, says we are excited to continue this partnership. Each year, our commitment to healthy families grows stronger, and we are better able to serve our community. To make a referral to CRI, please call the referral line at 336-373-4827. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but first we have a special message from Mayor Nancy Vaughn regarding the coronavirus.
Hello, I'm Mayor Nancy Vaughn, and I want to take a moment to talk to you about the coronavirus situation and what you can do to help during these difficult times. Regarding the recent stay-at-home order, I have received hundreds of emails asking, what am I allowed to do? You are free to travel to essential services or destinations, such as grocery stores, pharmacies, healthcare appointments, and outdoor exercise, all while using proper social distancing. Restaurants are still open, but can only offer takeout and delivery service. If you aren't doing these activities, we need you to stay home. Our goals are to reduce the rate of transmission, to keep our community as healthy as possible, and to reduce the burden on our hospitals and healthcare workers. We will continue to monitor the spread of the coronavirus and to coordinate with state and county officials. If you have questions about the stay-home order, email stayhome@guilfordcountync.gov. Stay home if you don't need to be out. Please leave groceries. Don't hoard. Maintain social distancing. Support local businesses when you can. Wash your hands often and stay out of large groups to reduce the risk of transmission. As a community, we've been tested before and we've always come through stronger. We will get through this together. When communicating, please rely on facts, not fear. Thank you.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. Many items in your home, such as pesticides, may contain hazardous materials and cannot be disposed of in a landfill or recycling facility. Residents should bring these items to the city's Household Hazardous Waste Collection Center at 2750 Patterson Street. The service is free, and this ensures the safe disposal of toxic items. To learn more about this program and what items are accepted, visit the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov/HHW. Straight ahead on the other side of the break is this week's Way to Go GSO shout out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout out. This week's shout out goes to our public safety community. National Police Memorial Week is observed May 11th through May 15th. Each year during this time, there are several events to honor all Guilford County law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty. Due to state regulations on social distancing and restrictions on the number of people who can gather, the annual joint memorial service was produced on video and released on social media. The video tribute features the 21-gun salute, presentation of the wreath, and comments from department leaders. Our heartfelt gratitude goes out to all fallen law enforcement officers and their family members. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefing. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro. And now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.